No, it's set to heat, so why would they see it?
I was standing here by the and I could just feel the warm air coming out. I'm gonna put a solar system on the trailer of my truck, right? And I'm just gonna pull a big charge. Yeah. Get myself over to
Together, how many days? Yeah. I was wondering how many existing customers we have. A little bit. I just pulled it.
how many are present?
Oh, I was gonna say, I can tell you the stat if you want to know our current. I pulled it today. 67.
There's no prize for front row, but appreciate it anyway. I got some prizes. I got some fun stuff.
Hey, 2 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started here if that works for everybody. Matt, what does the hallway look like? Anybody coming our way?
Nope, you're good, sir.
Good to go. Hey, it's my pleasure. What's it been, like 8, 10 years? You guys heard Ben Carlsrud, our president and CEO this morning, talk about Arctic Wolf and what they do for us every day. That was our first experience, and then we became a value-added reseller. It's my pleasure to introduce Thomas. Thomas and I have been in the small square Teams meeting and then live and in person for
A while.
Most people are sick of me, Thomas especially. Doesn't take long, right, Thomas? Thomas is a friend and a colleague, and I think he's really, really good at cybersecurity in general and a high-quality leadership, appreciated, upheld by leadership at Arctic Wolf for what he does and how he works every day. He's a true professional and good colleague of mine. If I can say that without tears, Thomas, I'm doing okay. FlexCare Fact. How many FlexCares do we have in the room? FlexCare Managed Services Agreements? Few, handful. Okay, one more FlexCare Fact. I'll try and slow down here. How many have managed network? Anyone? Y'all know what it is? The fact may not pertain to you then. It's a new offering that allows us more specific alerting across your network components and virtual servers, as well as configuration backups on a regular basis. It's pretty cool. It's a new development for us. Session title here is From Chaos to Control, Building Cyber Resilience in a World of Ever-Evolving Threats. Thomas and I have a friendship. We also have a professional respect. Well, one way for sure, Thomas. Thomas has built his career exploring the worlds of IT, cybersecurity, driven by a genuine curiosity about how things work, which I believe to be true. Are you going to tell the chip story?
I can.
You going there?
Yeah.
Okay, I think you should. From his early days managing data center environments to his current role as an advisory sales engineer at Arctic Wolf, he's gained valuable experience in the field. In his free time, Thomas hosts several podcasts in the technology and entertainment categories. Before you get started, how many Arctic Wolf customers do we have in the room?
Yeah, all right.
Love it. Everybody's sort of aware of what they do then, right? They watch your stuff 24/7, 365. They put sensors on your network, report telemetry into there. Like it's Cybersecurity as a Service. It's an amazing tool and feature. Network Center uses it, and we absolutely love it. Thomas, I will get off the mic here and give you your due.
Awesome.
Start with the chip, please. I found it fascinating, and I still just am in disbelief that you did that. So.
My name is Thomas Blade. Thanks, Brad. I'm a cyborg, so I have an implant in my hand that I use to unlock the front door of my house. And if you're not squeamish, come find me later, and I'll show you the video when I got it injected by some guy in Las Vegas that I've never met before. All of this is true, by the way. I do have to apologize to Brad. I changed the title a little bit on this. I didn't tell him. Beyond the Breach, Cybersecurity Anatomy Lesson and Solutions. Again, my name is Thomas Blade. I'm an advisory engineer with Arctic Wolf. What that really means is that I found a job where I can not only be involved in technology, but also talk for a living. So I'm very, very fortunate with that. Before we get too far into it here, I'm going to walk us through a a real attack. And we're going to save this and come back to it at the very end as well. I think a lot of times we think because of Hollywood, a cyber attack is, whoops, my bad, is someone cloaked, hood up, banging on a keyboard, very, very sophisticated. Not quite like that. The example here on my screen is someone just finding a vulnerability in a network and using that vulnerability to get in. Known vulnerability, mind you. This is a vulnerability in Citrix NetScaler, unpatched, point of entry into the environment. From here, we also like to think that once someone says, quote unquote, I'm in, that's it, it's game over. In most cases, that's just the very start of things. Before they rock house, they snoop around, internal reconnaissance, find out what kind of network am I in. They might not even know what kind of business that is, but they're going to find out. They're going to find out how the servers operate, how the people operate, who controls money, and so forth. From here now, we're going to start to lay the groundwork for our attack. We're going to use known pen testing tools, and we're going to take advantage of basic services like Active Directory. Maybe I'm going to try to elevate my privileges. Maybe I'm going to start looking for crown jewels in the environment. From here, we start to try to find a way out. So I'm going to grab a bunch of data, and I'm going to try and exfiltrate it. That's the next step. From here, I'm going to drop ransomware on the environment. I'm going to encrypt it. So not only did I take a copy of it, but I'm also going to encrypt what's left behind. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. This is what you come into the next day. This is what you don't ever want to see, indicating that all your files have been encrypted. They usually change the background. All your icons get changed. The file extensions get changed. And there's a text file demanding ransom. From here, they start to extort you. You go open that text file. You go to a chat. Literally looks just something like this. You're talking with someone on the other end who's telling you you're going to owe me a lot of money, and I'll give you your files back. And then we go to cyber insurance, then we go to incident response. So we're going to come back to this, but just take a mental snapshot of this image here in a little bit. So great show of hands of who's already familiar with Arctic Wolf. I'll give you a quick recap. Maybe there's some stuff you didn't know. I'll talk about some of the services we offer, some of the new services we offer. So again, maybe there's some stuff you don't know about yet. Arctic Wolf, we are a cyber security organization here to end cyber risk. We are based out of Eden Prairie, Minnesota. We support over 10,000 organizations around the world. And we have over 3,500 employees to do so, over 1,000 of them specifically in security services. In addition to that, we also take about 1,000 incident response cases off the street every year. Those are referrals from cyber insurance providers, people having the worst day. They call us, we get them back up and running. I'm going to share a lot of facts from these teams here in a little bit. We operate a cloud-based security operations platform. Today, we see over 8 trillion events per week. And if you look at the stat of how many Google searches there are in a week, or how many emails get sent in a week, both those numbers pale in comparison to how much data we look at. So a tremendous amount of information coming around. There's plenty of accolades down there, but for me personally, being in a room and seeing at least a dozen hands go up, I think that's a pretty good accolade too. So I appreciate those hand raises. There we go. All right, so the solutions that we offer here, a lot of you are probably familiar with this first one, managed detection and response. If you're not familiar, I'll give you the 2-second elevator pitch. Managed detection and response, as Brad mentioned earlier, is watching everything, 24/7, 365. We like to look for what we call early indicators of compromise. Earlier, the better. I don't want to wait for that endpoint to be compromised. If I find malware on your endpoint, it's probably too late. But how did it get there? That's what we want to look for with managed detection and response. Recently, we also added endpoint security to the fold, so EDR, providing endpoint security to pair with that MDR as well. We also bring to the table managed risk. This is our vulnerability scanning. The idea here is to take everything into the environment into account. So not only the things that we can install software on, but really anything that's connected to the network should be subject to these vulnerability scans. I want to do them in a continuous fashion. No once every other month, no twice a year. These are continuously running in your environment. So as we learn about new vulnerabilities in the wild, we can start to look for those in our customer environments, get ahead of them, help you find them, help you patch them out. Managed security awareness training, I think this is probably everyone's favorite because we all get emails of these in some fashion, letting you know what's out there, keeping your end users safe, helping them know what to look for, and then also, of course, social engineering tricks. I'm going to try and phish them. I'm going to say, hey, CEO needs some gift cards. Has anyone got one of those today? I feel like those have kind of dropped off. And then lastly, incident response. All of these are offered a la carte, but as I mentioned, anyone off the street can come to us for incident response. We do everything incident response, soup to nuts. We will do threat eradication. We will do forensics. We will do all the after incident reports. We will also do threat actor negotiation, which if you think of what that means, that's literally that chat box we saw earlier. That's us working with those threat actors on the other end. It's really wild, really weird to think about how that works, but you're really talking to that criminal on the other end. And we play dumb, mind you. I don't tell them that I'm Arctic Wolf. I tell them, well, what happened? You stole my data? What's going on? What's Bitcoin? Play dumb, keep them on the quote-unquote phone as long as we can while we figure out what's going on. Okay, so the meat of the presentation today, I'm going to talk about our latest threat report. So every year we go into our incident response data and we pull out interesting findings. Because we are, like I said, soup to nuts, because we know about how these threat actors operate, you're going to see some kind of interesting findings here. All the information is from a successful breach. So this is us pulling facts out of actual incident response cases. I'll talk about threat actor tactics here in a little bit, but we'll look at some of the commonalities because I think it's really interesting that it's not this complete nebulous thing on the other end. These threat actors all kind of follow a similar playbook, and you eventually kind of know, oh, this is Lockbit? Well, I know what to look for. I know what they did. This is Akira? Oh, I know exactly how they exploited the customer's environment. Well, now I know exactly how much they're going to ask for ransom. I know exactly how much they'll probably accept instead. And then at the end of this conversation here, we'll talk about just some things to be on the lookout for. I think we heard some of this in the previous conversation in this room, so there'll be some similarities there. I am glad that it's not nearly as warm in here as it was previously. Is it cold here now? No, it's perfect. Is everyone comfortable in here? Yeah. This is Fargo. We're fine. I lived in Grand Forks for a while, and I found out that a student in Grand Forks invented the engine block heater. So we're used to cold. Okay, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anyone, but of the incident response cases that Arctic Wolf worked last year, 44% of them were ransomware and data extortion or exfiltration. I've given this presentation or similar presentations in the past, and data exfiltration or extortion was not always on that list. We're seeing it more and more, that sort of double tap. And the reason behind that is, I guess, twofold. One, if I steal your data, then I have leverage over you paying me. Or if you say, well, I have great backups, I restored my backups, I'm going to get back up and running, I'm going to give you the middle finger and I'm not going to pay you. Well, great, now I have your data as a threat actor, I'm going to go sell it. We'll also talk about business email compromise, or BEC. If you want to learn about intrusions and the rest of there on the side, come find me later. I'll actually give you the whole threat report because there's a lot more information that we can dive into. Okay, we'll talk about ransomware and data extortion. And for the first person who wants to win a prize, who can tell me the most targeted vertical or industry targeted by ransomware and data extortion in our threat report? Healthcare. Healthcare? Close. Close. Yeah? Banking. Banking's going to come up later.
Manufacturing.
You looked at the slide. Were you going to say manufacturing?
Education.
Oh, all right. Well, here, I'll let you give that out. I'll let you give it out.
Who's the first one?
Right back there, I think. Yeah. Those are all really good guesses. And mind you, none of you are wrong. Those are all targeted industries. But when we looked at our data, manufacturing was the number one. Yeah, Brad got it. I think Brad's seen me.
Those are random guesses.
I thought you'd maybe see me give this presentation before. But healthcare is number two. So good guess over there on healthcare. When we think about why are these the targeted industries, what happens if a manufacturing organization is down? They're done. If that line is toast, they're not pushing product. If you were in the presentation previously, we heard about an organization, a manufacturing organization that had to furlough everyone for 2 weeks. So if they're down, they are highly motivated to get up and running again. They're highly motivated to pay and work with the threat actor. Also, unfortunately, manufacturing can also be an easy target because how many manufacturing organizations have that $2 million piece of hardware from Germany connected to the $100 Windows XP machine? I talked to someone, he was so excited to tell me that he had a Windows 95 machine still running. I'm like, well, you're probably fine. No one's going to attack Windows 95, but XP, still out there. Healthcare, close second. If a healthcare organization is down, I mean, we know what happens, right? So again, highly motivated to pay. Interesting story, there was a children's hospital that was ransomed, and during the threat actor negotiations, they're like, we're a children's hospital. And the threat actor said, oh, sorry, here's your data back, here's your decryption key, leave you alone. So there is a little honor among thieves, a little bit there, but that's about it. Okay, for the second prize, who knows the number one point of entry or root cause when it comes to ransomware attack? How do they get in? Who said that? I can't see. I'm not going to throw a glass bottle at you.
Do it. Chuck it at him.
You have to provide your own straw, by the way. Yeah, open port, misconfiguration, 3389 was left open. External remote access, RDP. I mean, that's got to be shut down. That's the first thing you close down when you go into an environment. Does anyone have RDP open up? I'm sorry if maybe I don't want to out you. One of my first jobs was data center management, and I had a customer who they had 3389 open for one server, 3390 open for one server, and 3391 open for the other server. They thought they were so clever because they didn't want to pay for VPN licensing. Okay. Second biggest threat, or biggest root cause rather, external exploits. Does anyone run SonicWall Firewall? Have you patched? Nice. I mentioned Akira earlier. Akira is known for targeting recently the SonicWall SSL VPN. Some of the data from this next report is going to contain that because we've dealt with probably 20 cases in the last month by Akira for that vulnerability. And I'm sorry to point you. You patched. You did good.
You guys let us know immediately.
I love hearing that. Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciated it.
Did you bounce in though? Bounce in really quick, patch it up? Yeah, run that update. Yeah. Yeah, that's how they get in, right? They find an open port. Does anyone know what Shodan is? Shodan's a port scanner, free port scanner on the internet. You can just type in 3389, you can find an open server. You know, there's how many vulnerabilities for Windows, for RDP? How many weak credentials can you guess? That's the biggest way in. And I thought this was kind of scary. Unsecured RDP alone is 38% of our incidents. 38%. That's nuts. Okay, so how does a threat actor think about how they're going to ransom you? So when we look at our data, there's really three categories it kind of comes down to. The first is the victim's ability to pay. So if they understand the size of your organization, or if they know that you have insurance, they might know immediately how much they can get out of you. If you're a public company, you just publish quarterly earnings, or you just announce something major on your website, they think, oh, you got money, I can use that. If you have your insurance policy sitting on your desktop or in your email, and that gets compromised, and they see, oh my God, they have 1 million cyber policy. Cha-ching. I mentioned this earlier, but they'll gain leverage over you as well, depending on the sensitivity of the information, the disruption of the business, negative press, scope of attack. I mentioned victim resilience. If they know that you don't have backups, or if they got your backups, I heard something in the previous session that I'd never heard of before, but they would go into your backup and change the scope of the backup to eliminate things from the backup. So you think, oh, my backups are running, everything's fine. Yeah. So again, threat actor leverage. And then there's the wild card, ego, mood, reputation of the threat actor. These are all things that we've kind of seen over time because, again, we're communicating with the same groups time over time. We're probably communicating with the same threat actor on the other end. So if we know more about them, if we know how much they're going to ask for or how much they'll take, that gets figured in here as well. Let's see here. Does anyone know the highest ransom demand of last year for a pair of socks? You don't have to be spot on. 80 million. Not close. Sorry, I should be more specific. The average. You know what? He's right. He's right. Give him those socks.
By the way, that belongs to me. I give an answer.
Well, there's 2 socks in the package. You guys can share those. Or take turns. You know, I wear them this day, you wear them the next day. So the number that we see, $775,000 in the construction area, in the construction business. Again, construction, highly motivated to pay. If we can't operate, if we don't have a means to do our job, a lot of other organizations, you know, you go offline, okay, we can switch to pen and paper for a little while, but if I can't roll trucks, if I can't produce equipment or machinery, I'm down. So again, we're seeing an uptick in most of these. It's kind of leveled out in some spaces or gone down. But again, these are the initial ransom demands made by threat actors that we see. Let's talk again about double extortion. This is now almost every single ransomware case that we deal with. 96%, there's double extortion in there. Again, I can use this as a means to apply pressure to get you to pay. If I tell you I have your data, and if you don't pay me, I'm going to leak it. But then we got to think about, well, what's in that data? Sometimes a threat actor will give you a sample of the data to prove that they have it. Okay, well, what if they got customer information, employee information? What if I'm a school and they got student information? The threat actor, not only would they go and sell that information or leak it, they're not afraid to go target those individuals as well. So now they're going to go target your customer base, individual people, and say, you know, for $100, I'll scrub your information from this. You know, for a couple bucks, I'll get rid of your information from this leak. So again, it means to exert pressure on victims. All right, I'm running low on prizes here, so I'll save them for later. But I will also point out, negotiation pays off. We've kept millions and millions and millions of dollars out of the hands of threat actors through negotiation. And again, we know who we're talking to. So if I know, oh, that's Kira. I know that the last guy accepted this much of a reduction. I'm going to go in at that. So huge reduction in ransomware payoff. And again, we don't tell them who we are. I don't want them to know that I'm with Arctic Wolf. I'm a ransomware negotiation guy. No, I'm Thomas, who's scared of losing his job. Can I please have my data back? And I've talked about this a lot here. I'll just kind of close on this, and we'll go into the business email compromise in a second. We believe to have seen 50 unique ransomware groups over the last year. Believe to, because again, we don't know. They don't say, hey, I'm Joe from Akira, or I'm Bill from Lockbit. But based on the evidence, based on what we see about these folks, this is what we believe. There are some that are more active than others. 5 ransomware groups were responsible for 42% of our cases. Okay, let's talk about business email compromise. A lot of people think based on the name alone, business email compromise really just means my email account was hacked, someone got into my email. And that is business email compromise, but it's not it. There's a lot of others out there. Remember I talked about the gift card scam? That's business email compromise. Someone emails you claiming to be someone else saying, hey, can I get $20 or 20 iTunes gift cards? The false invoice scheme, has anyone heard of this? This one's kind of interesting. When I first heard about it, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Because some guy got busted sending invoices for like $750 for quote unquote office equipment to like Google and Microsoft and Oracle. And I think he was probably just like messing around. No, he got busted. He's in prison. He got wire fraud or something. But that's an example of business email compromise. Product theft, attorney impersonation, data theft, and then, of course, again, account compromise. I shouldn't have, pretend like you didn't see that. Okay, what industry is most targeted for business email compromise? Oh, you guys are so smart. Finance. Yeah, finance, because, hey, their life is in email. Legal, their life is in email. That's an easy target, right? As a threat actor, I can cast a wide net to these organizations, and I can try to trick them. I can phish them. I can use LLMs to craft a really well-worded email. I still find Nigerian prince emails in my spam folder. They've gone far and way beyond that. And of course, the root cause is phishing. It always will be phishing. There's no sophisticated attacker breaking into Microsoft and getting your passwords. They're emailing you. They're claiming to be a Microsoft sign-in page, a fake sign-in page to give me your credentials. If it wasn't phishing, it's probably finding credentials out on the dark web. It's probably finding leaked credentials. It's probably credential reuse. I talk to people about this all the time. I say, you're not the one who got compromised. It's your employee who uses the same email address and password for a third-party site, might not even be business related. That's what got compromised. Now those credentials are out there. They use the same email address and password for everything else, and they get in. Has anyone seen an LLM generated, a large language model generated phishing email? They're really good. They're really good. A lot of times we used to be able to pick out the obvious things like formatting or punctuation or spelling or just general speech. I can go into Gemini and I can say, I'm trying to train my employees. Write me a convincing phishing email. And it'll spit out 100 in 2 seconds. Copy, paste, send it to a big, large list. That's casting a wide net. Okay, it's not all doom and gloom. We do have ways to fix this, to protect ourselves. I'll show you that first slide. We'll see that again in a moment. But what are some of the things that you can do right now? Create and maintain an approved software list. Right? I don't want people to install things they shouldn't. I don't want one of my employees to install a remote access tool, right? So let's make sure we know what's out there. Asset inventory, especially things that are exposed externally. Let's know about what's out there. Let's not leave old stuff running. As much as you can avoid it, don't put things out on the public internet. Don't put 3389, 2280 open up on your firewall. There's better ways to do that. Use your VPN, as long as it's patched. This is a bit of a shameless plug. Broad visibility and monitoring. Again, how many people are Arctic Wolf? MDR? Yeah? Okay. So put a big check mark on that one. You guys already got that covered. And the last one, understand baseline activity. I hear about this all the time. I hear about people who tried another solution, and they were like, oh, we got hit because it was in learning mode. Okay, well, that's fine, but we can detect weird things right off the bat, and we're probably going to be erring on the side of caution, better be safe than sorry, and we're going to take action. You're going to say, oh, actually, I do have that guy who works out of Canada sometimes. Okay, cool. I'll unlock the account, back at it. Make a note of that. Don't do it again. A few more things you can do. Incident response plan. Does anyone use Arctic Wolf Incident Response Jumpstart? Yep. Yeah. It's just answering some simple questions. What's my IP scheme look like? What are my key servers? If I was down, what are the first things I want to get up and running again? The funny thing that I always bring up to people when I talk about incident response planning is communication methods. Because if you're compromised, you're not going to want to use your business email, if it's even accessible. So I need to have everyone's Gmail. I need everyone's Yahoo account, phone numbers, their mobile phone. That plan, by the way, don't keep it on your computer. Because again, it's the same reason that you don't want to have your insurance on there, right? I don't want the threat actor to know, oh, if I get compromised, I'm going to call Arctic Wolf. I'm going to call incident response, get back up and running that way. But again, if it's encrypted, if it's down, if it's inaccessible, let's make sure we have a copy of it. One of the easiest things we can also do is just have strong identity controls and identity practices. Right? And people say, oh, I have strong passwords. I rotate my passwords every 30 days. That's good. That's great. What about multi-factor authentication? What about the concept of least privilege access? Do you give everyone VPN access? Or do you limit it to whoever needs it?
Most of my employees need it.
Okay, well, they need it. So let's make sure that if they need it, they got it. If they don't need it, they don't need VPN. And then lastly, foster a culture of security. This is not to scare people, right? I don't do these presentations to scare people. But if you know what's out there, if your employees know what's out there, then they can be aware of what to look for. If you can show them something that they might be familiar with, like the casino breach I was mentioned earlier, something that they know about, that they've seen in the news, and you can connect a learning opportunity with that, it's going to be that much stickier with them. Okay, we're going to go back to this example really quick here. This is my last shameless plug for Arctic Wolf. We saw the breakdown of how the threat actor operates. This can be very fast. This can be done over many, many days. But by having visibility, 24/7 managed detection response, we can catch this. We can catch it at the data exfiltration layer. Oh, gosh, I'm going to trip one of these times. If I see a lot of data leaving your network, yeah, I'm going to block it. I'm going to call you. Lateral movement, I can look for that too. I can look for unusual DNS activity. I can look for unusual Active Directory traffic or logs. The presence of those pen testing tools that a threat actor is going to use to gain elevated access in their environment, yeah, I can detect those too. Running weird PowerShell commands on an endpoint or commands on an endpoint, trying to gain admin access, trying to create a scheduled task that runs as the system account that starts at next startup, yeah, I can detect that. We talked about vulnerability scanning earlier. Let's find this vulnerability before. Let's patch it out. The SonicWall VPN is a great example. If we know it's out there in the wild, let's just get it patched. Took you what, 5 minutes? Yeah, easy peasy. All right. Let's see, do I have one more? I have 2 more prizes. All right, cool. So we're going to take any questions, and the 2 questions I hear do get prizes. So, and Brad's going to be really nice and hand out a microphone if you'd like it. Yeah.
So right now we're using Sentinel-1, and when we signed up for you guys last year, there was talk of you guys having your own application to replace that.
Yes.
Is that out and functional yet?
100%. Yep. Arctic Wolf takes a stance of being broad and open. So using Sentinel-1, using SonicWall, great. We're going to watch them. We're going to monitor them, no problem. But yeah, when we talk about consolidation and bringing things under that proverbial one pane of glass, we do offer EDR to go along with that as a replacement.
Sure. So right now I've got your client that's on all of our workstations, which that's separate from your actual EDR, right?
Correct. Okay. Yep. The goal down the road to have that to be all one software agent, so you're only installing one piece of software, and then I can just stream the bits to you that you would need.
Do you have a timeline as far as when those are going to be?
The EDR is available today. It's been available for 5 months, I want to say. The unified agent is probably going to be in this next year, next calendar year. A water bottle or? All right, cool. Yeah.
All right, so my current company uses Blue Team Alpha. Are you familiar with that, company? Yes, and quite frankly, we're not too pleased with what we're getting. So what is the difference between the services that you provide and BTA?
Yeah, good question. Brad, you want to hand this back to him? I'm going to make Brad work for me. Thanks, Brad. So one of the things that I always talk about that differentiates Arctic Wolf is people. We not only have this whole operational side of things of monitoring and have a bunch of AI and machine learning in a box to make these detections and block things out, but there's all these people behind the scenes. You saw a slide earlier that said we have about 1,000. That's probably 1,500 by now. That slide's probably 6 months old. Over 1,000 security engineers that you can interface with in various ways. So in the middle of an incident, let's say I catch a compromised email account and I lock it out and I send you a ticket. Well, you might say, gosh, that's the CEO. I need to talk to you right now because he's going to be asking me questions. So now you have that person you can interface with. We also bring to the table what we call concierge security engineers. The concierge security engineer is everything's good right now. There's no immediate incidents, so what are we doing to push the security ball up the hill? So that engineer works with you on the proactive side of things.
I also think it's maturity and good, better, best. You're commended for having something.
Yep.
But you look at it from a cost perspective versus budget versus good, better, best. I think that's maybe that's kind of what Thomas is saying. Is the maturity of the article product is they were first to market probably, if not first or second to market.
Yeah.
And for your network taps, do you guys use Cybersecurity?
The sensors that we use?
Yes.
No.
Okay. And who do you guys usually, or if that's okay,
Yeah.
How do you guys
No, they're white label boxes that we manage the OS on.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But network tap is an important part of that. So I talked earlier about paying attention to everything on the network. It's not just what I can install an agent or a piece of software on. It's everything else that has an IP address, everything else that's talking on the network. If it's traversing that WAN, I want to know about it. If it's normal internet traffic, that's fine, right? I'm not going to crack open SSL. But if all of a sudden I see a bunch of data going to Google Drive, and I know that you use Microsoft 365, that's something I'm going to probably call you on, right?
I would also add that when Ben Carlsrud, our president, talked about this morning, I would also say, I've heard Ben say, one of the reasons they chose Arctic Wolf in the very beginning when we were out of the gate looking for someone to help us protect 24/7 was the fact that Arctic Wolf is an organic company, meaning that they're not going to use off-the-shelf pieces and parts to create tooling to protect the company. They have invented and built all their own in their own space, in their own stack with their own engineers. It is a closed ecosystem that way. That was really appealing to Network Center from the very beginning when we were choosing someone to help us protect. So if that's not too canned, that's factual and reality, and I believe Arctic Wolf is still in that path.
Yeah. Being in charge of or in control of your own destiny, I think, is really important as any software vendor, right? Especially as a cybersecurity vendor. We learned so much from our incident response cases that we can pump all that intel into our detection platform. If we weren't in control of both of those ends, maybe we're waiting for another vendor upstream to provide us with that. So.
And really, that is a great example. That's exactly what I'm running into. Is that, quite frankly, for Cyber Gradient, I'm talking to them more than actually Blue Team Alpha. Really, it's just, as you said, they're just subcontracting different parts of what they're doing. And now that you brought up that you guys are, in-house doing this, I believe that is quite great.
Yeah. Again, that proverbial single pane of glass, the vendor consolidation, it's got a lot of benefits, but the best is, hey, as your security provider, I'm seeing things on both ends, right? And I'm responsible for keeping things up to date, and I'm not relying on anyone else downstream, or upstream, I should say. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, everyone.